If your last blood test came back and the word creatinine was circled in red, I want you to take a breath because you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not stuck. Every single day, thousands of people over 50 sit in their car in a doctor's office parking lot, staring at a lab report, wondering what that one number really means for their future. Does it mean dialysis someday? Does it mean giving up the foods you love? Does it mean your kidneys are failing you? Here is what almost nobody tells you in that 5-minute appointment. Your daily plate has more influence on your kidney health than you have ever been told, and there are specific, simple, everyday foods that may help support healthy creatinine levels naturally, the way nature intended. Stick with me for the next few minutes because by the end of this video, you will know exactly which 5 foods deserve a permanent spot in your kitchen, and just as importantly, why they work. Not because I said so, but because of what research and kidney specialists have observed for years. Let's back up for a second, because I think a lot of confusion starts right here. Creatinine is not some mysterious enemy. It is simply a waste product that your muscles make every day as they do their normal work. And your kidneys are the cleanup crew that filters it out of your blood and sends it on its way through urine. When your kidneys are working at their best, creatinine stays at a nice, steady, low level. But when the kidneys are under extra strain, from years of high blood pressure, from blood sugar that runs a little high, from dehydration, or simply from the wear and tear of getting older, that filtering process slows down and creatinine can start to climb. Think of your kidneys like the oil filter in a car. Nobody thinks about the filter until the warning light comes on the dashboard. But the truth is, the filter has been working quietly in the background for years, and a few smart habits can help it keep running smoothly for a lot longer. Now here's something that might surprise you, and it's the reason I wanted to make this video in the first place. So many people hear creatinine and immediately think the solution has to be complicated, expensive, or something only a specialist can explain. But some of the most respected kidney health experts and researchers actually point back to something refreshingly simple: everyday nutrition, not some rare supplement flown in from overseas, not an extreme diet that leaves you hungry and miserable, just real ordinary foods, many of which are probably sitting in your grocery store right now, that may help take some of the pressure off your kidneys and support the body's natural filtering process. And I promise you, once I walk you through these 5 foods, you're going to recognize at least 2 or 3 of them already sitting in your fridge. But before I give you the list, I want to make sure you understand one thing clearly, because I take this seriously. No food, no matter how healthy, is a magic cure, and I would never tell you that eating a certain vegetable will erase a kidney condition or replace a conversation with your doctor. What I am going to share with you today are habits and foods that many nutrition researchers associate with supporting overall kidney function and a healthier creatinine picture, especially when paired with good hydration, regular movement, and the medical guidance of your own healthcare provider. Think of this video as adding good tools to your toolbox, not throwing away the toolbox your doctor already gave you. So let's start with the first food, and I chose this one to go first because it might be the single easiest change you can make starting today, and that is red bell peppers. Now, if you're used to reaching for foods labeled healthy that taste like cardboard, red bell peppers are going to feel like a pleasant surprise. They're sweet, crunchy, and colorful. And here's why they matter for anyone watching their creatinine. Many foods that are hard on the kidneys tend to be high in potassium and phosphorus, 2 minerals that healthy kidneys usually handle just fine, but that can build up when kidney function is already strained. Red bell peppers are naturally low in potassium compared to many other vegetables, while still being packed with vitamin C, vitamin B6, and antioxidants that support your body's overall defense system. You can slice them raw for a snack, toss them into a stir-fry, or roast them with a drizzle of olive oil for a side dish that feels like a treat, not a chore. Here's a small story that I think really drives this point home. Registered dietitians who specialize in kidney nutrition often say that one of the biggest struggles their patients face isn't understanding what to eat. It's believing that kidney-friendly food actually has to taste good, and red bell peppers are proof that it can. They bring color, crunch, and natural sweetness to your plate. So this isn't about punishment, it's about smart substitution. And that idea, smart substitution instead of restriction, is actually going to come up again with the very next food I want to share with you, because it might be the most underrated vegetable in the entire produce aisle. But before I tell you what it is, I want you to think for a second about your own diet. Have you noticed any pattern in what you eat that might be putting extra strain on your kidneys without you even realizing it? Keep that thought in the back of your mind, because it's going to matter a lot as we go further into this list. The second food on our list is cabbage. And I know cabbage doesn't exactly have a reputation as an exciting food, but hear me out because this humble vegetable deserves way more credit than it gets. Cabbage is naturally low in potassium and phosphorus, which, as we just talked about, matters a great deal when we're thinking about kidney workload. On top of that, cabbage is rich in vitamin K, vitamin C, and fiber, and it contains plant compounds that researchers have studied for their potential to support the body's natural inflammation response. Chronic low-grade inflammation is something many experts believe plays a role in how quickly organs like the kidneys age over time, so incorporating anti-inflammatory foods is a regular habit. Not a one-time fix, maybe one of the quiet, unsung strategies for long-term kidney wellness. And cabbage is wonderfully versatile. You can shred it into a crunchy slaw with a light vinegar dressing, saute it with garlic and olive oil for a warm side dish, or even use it as a low-calorie wrap in place of bread or tortillas. It's inexpensive, it lasts a long time in your fridge, and it doesn't require any special cooking skills. I want you to picture something for a moment. Imagine two people both in their 60s, both concerned about their kidney health. One of them believes that eating well means bland, boring, restrictive meals, so they give up after 2 weeks out of frustration. The other person learns that eating for their kidneys can still mean flavorful stir-fries, colorful salads, and satisfying dinners, so they stick with it for years. Which one do you think ends up with better long-term results? It's not about willpower. It's about finding foods you can realistically enjoy for the rest of your life. And that's exactly the mindset I want you to bring into the next part of this video, because the third food on our list might just become your new favorite drink. Welcome back, and if you're just joining me, we've already covered two simple, everyday foods, red bell peppers and cabbage, that many kidney health researchers and dietitians point to as smart, low-potassium choices that fit easily into a kidney-friendly routine. Now let's talk about food number 3, and this one might genuinely surprise you, because it's something many people only think of as a summer treat, rather than a health habit, and that food is cranberries. For generations, cranberries have been associated with urinary tract and kidney health, and while I want to be careful not to overstate anything, there is real scientific interest in the plant compounds found in cranberries, particularly certain antioxidants that may help support a healthy urinary tract environment. A healthy urinary tract matters because your kidneys and your urinary system work as a team. If there's ongoing irritation or infection risk in that system, it can add extra strain to the very organs we're trying to protect. Cranberries are naturally tart, low in sugar when eaten fresh or as an unsweetened juice, and they contain vitamin C along with fiber. The key word there is unsweetened, because a lot of cranberry products on store shelves are loaded with added sugar, and excess sugar over time is something that can contribute to the very blood sugar issues that put extra pressure on kidney function in the first place. So if you're going to add cranberries into your routine, look for fresh cranberries, frozen unsweetened cranberries, or a small handful of dried cranberries with no added sugar, rather than the sugary juice cocktails lined up at the grocery store. Here's a small habit you might try this week. Instead of reaching for a sugary snack in the afternoon, toss a small handful of fresh or frozen cranberries into a bowl with a few walnuts. You get a satisfying tart and crunchy combination, some healthy fats, and a food that fits comfortably into a kidney-conscious lifestyle. It's a tiny change, but tiny changes, repeated day after day for months and years, are exactly what add up to meaningfully better outcomes. And that idea of small, repeatable habits is something I want you to really hold on to, because the next food on our list is something almost everyone already has in their kitchen, and yet almost nobody uses it the right way. Food number 4 is garlic. And I know what you might be thinking. Garlic is just a seasoning. How could it possibly matter for something as serious as kidney health? But garlic has been studied for decades because of specific plant compounds it contains, particularly one called allicin, which is released when garlic is crushed or chopped. Researchers have been interested in garlic's potential role in supporting healthy blood pressure and healthy circulation. And here's why that connection matters so much for creatinine levels specifically. Your kidneys are essentially a network of tiny, delicate blood vessels working as filters. When blood pressure runs high over months and years, it can put mechanical stress on those delicate vessels, gradually reducing how efficiently your kidneys filter waste, including creatinine. So anything that supports healthy blood pressure as part of an overall lifestyle may, in turn, support your kidneys' ability to keep doing their job well. There's also a practical bonus to using more garlic in your cooking that a lot of people overlook. Garlic is naturally full of flavor, which means it can help you cut back on salt. And for anyone concerned about kidney health, reducing sodium is one of the most consistently recommended habits by health experts, because excess sodium causes the body to retain fluid and can raise blood pressure, both of which add extra workload to your kidneys. So instead of reaching for the salt shaker out of habit, try sautéing fresh garlic in a little olive oil and adding it to your vegetables, your soups, or your grain dishes. You get big, bold flavor, you naturally reduce your sodium intake, and you're incorporating a food that researchers have studied for its potential cardiovascular and circulatory benefits, all in one simple step. I want to pause here and ask you something. Of the 4 foods we've covered so far, red bell peppers, cabbage, cranberries, and garlic, which one do you already eat regularly, and which one is completely new to you? I'd genuinely love to know, and I'll ask you to share that in the comments a little later because I read every single one, and it helps me know what to cover in future videos. But right now, I want you thinking about something else, because there is one more food left on this list. And out of everything I'm sharing with you today, this final food might be the most quietly powerful of them all, not because of one dramatic nutrient, but because of how it works together with everything else on this list. Before I reveal it, though, let's talk for a moment about why these 5 foods matter more as a pattern than as individual items. Nutrition research consistently shows that the human body doesn't respond to a single superfood the way we sometimes hope it will. What actually seems to matter, according to long-term studies on aging and organ health, is the overall pattern of what you eat, day after day, year after year. A person who eats one healthy meal and then goes back to processed food and takeout for the rest of the week isn't going to see the same results as someone who builds a consistent, moderate, mostly whole food pattern into their life. That's actually good news because it means you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to overhaul your entire kitchen overnight. You simply need to start layering in habits one at a time, the way we've been doing throughout this video. Red peppers instead of higher potassium snacks, cabbage instead of less kidney-friendly sides, unsweetened cranberries instead of sugary treats, and garlic instead of extra salt. And that brings me to something else worth mentioning: hydration. I haven't spent much time on this yet, but I want to be honest with you, no list of foods matters much if you're not drinking enough water throughout the day. Your kidneys need adequate fluid to properly filter waste products, including creatinine, out of your bloodstream. Many older adults unintentionally drink less water as they age, sometimes because their sense of thirst becomes less reliable over time, and sometimes simply out of habit. A practical tip that many kidney health professionals recommend is keeping a water bottle within arm's reach throughout the day, rather than relying on feeling thirsty as your only cue to drink. Of course, if you have any condition that requires fluid restriction, that's a conversation to have directly with your doctor, because individual needs really do vary. But for most people, staying consistently, gently hydrated throughout the day is one of the simplest and most overlooked habits for supporting healthy kidney function. Now, stay with me, because in the final part of this video, I'm going to reveal the 5th food, the one that ties this entire list together. And I'm also going to share a simple daily routine that brings all 5 of these foods into your life in a realistic, sustainable way without turning your kitchen upside down. All right, let's get to it. Because I know you've been waiting, food number 5, and I saved this one for last on purpose, because it's a food that many people are genuinely surprised to see on a list like this, and that food is olive oil. Now, olive oil isn't going to lower a lab number by itself, but here's why it earns a real place on this list. So much of what strains your kidneys over the years comes down to the health of your blood vessels and your overall inflammation levels throughout the body. Olive oil, especially extra virgin olive oil, is rich in monounsaturated fats and natural plant compounds that researchers have studied for their relationship to healthy cholesterol levels and reduced inflammation. And remember what we talked about earlier. Your kidneys are essentially delicate filtering networks made of blood vessels, supporting the health of your blood vessels throughout your entire body. Through the fats you choose to cook with is one of those quiet, long-term habits that adds up significantly over the years, even though you won't feel it happening day to day. The simplest way to bring olive oil into your life is to use it as your primary cooking fat in place of butter or heavily processed vegetable oils, and to use it generously on salads, roasted vegetables, and even a piece of whole grain bread. It's a small swap, but it's one that a lot of long-term dietary studies on aging populations around the world have pointed to again and again as part of an overall eating pattern associated with better cardiovascular and metabolic health as people get older. So let's bring this all together, because I promised you a realistic, sustainable routine, not just a list to remember and forget. Here's what a simple day might look like if you wanted to bring all 5 of these foods into your life naturally. In the morning, you might sauté a little cabbage with garlic and a spoonful of olive oil as a warm side to your breakfast, or add it to an omelet. Around midday, you might enjoy a salad with sliced red bell peppers, a light vinaigrette made with olive oil, and a small handful of unsweetened dried cranberries sprinkled on top for a bit of natural sweetness. In the evening, a simple stir-fry with cabbage, red peppers, and garlic cooked in olive oil gives you a complete, flavorful, kidney-conscious meal without any complicated recipes or hard-to-find ingredients. And throughout the entire day, that water bottle stays close by, a steady sip here and there rather than trying to catch up all at once in the evening. Notice something important about that routine. It's not restrictive. It's not bland. It's not expensive or hard to find at a regular grocery store. It's just a thoughtful rearrangement of everyday ingredients, guided by what research and kidney health specialists have consistently pointed to as smart, supportive choices. And I want to say this clearly one more time, because it matters. None of this replaces your doctor, your lab work, or any treatment plan you may already be following. If you have an existing kidney condition, diabetes, or high blood pressure, please continue working closely with your healthcare provider, and think of everything in this video as something to bring into that conversation, not something to replace it. Your doctor can help you understand your specific numbers, your specific risk factors, and whether any of these foods need to be adjusted based on your individual health needs, especially around potassium and phosphorus if your kidney function is already reduced. Here's what I really want you to take away from the last several minutes we've spent together. Your kidneys have been working quietly for you every single day of your life, filtering out what your body doesn't need without ever asking for a thank you. And the beautiful thing is, supporting them doesn't require anything extreme. It requires red bell peppers instead of a bag of chips. It requires cabbage instead of a side of fries. It requires unsweetened cranberries instead of a sugary snack. It requires garlic instead of extra salt. And it requires olive oil instead of butter or processed oils. 5 small realistic swaps that, when repeated consistently over months and years, become a genuine lifestyle, one that many experts associate with better long-term organ health and healthy aging overall. I know that receiving a lab result with an unfamiliar number circled in red can feel scary, and I know that searching for answers online can sometimes leave you more confused than when you started. My hope for you today is the opposite of that. I hope you leave this video feeling calm, informed, and genuinely empowered because you now know 5 real, accessible foods that fit into a life you can actually enjoy. Not a diet you'll want to quit by next Tuesday. Aging well isn't about chasing perfection. It's about steady, gentle, consistent care for the body that has carried you this far, and it's never too late to start giving it a little more support. So here's what I'd love for you to do right now. Down in the comments, tell me which of these 5 foods you're most excited to add to your meals this week, or if you already eat some of them regularly. Share that too, because your experience might be exactly what someone else watching needs to hear today. If this video gave you something valuable, please consider sharing it with a friend or family member who could use a little encouragement on their own health journey, because sometimes the people we love need to hear this message from someone other than us. And if you'd like more clear, honest, no-nonsense videos like this one on blood pressure, blood sugar, heart health, memory, and healthy aging, go ahead and subscribe, because there is so much more valuable information coming your way, and I would love to have you here for all of it. Take care of yourself, be patient with your body, and I'll see you in the next video.